What you see here is a 6-foot mower I found on Craigslist, and it had been used for mowing public land, so it was kind of beat up when I got it, but it was relatively inexpensive. It was almost new, but they'd used it for about 2 years out there on a BLM contract. It's got a little chain thing on one end and another chain thing on the other end. And then a friend of mine had that skid steer plate, and he made me a deal on it. I don't remember exactly what the deal was. I think I gave him $100 for it or something, but I don't remember. And then I just welded it right straight to the 3-point hitch doohickey. You can kind of see the little hole there where the pin used to be, and the hole up at top. And I just did it simple, actually. It was kind of weird, and it seems to work pretty good, actually. And you can see the chain drags. I need to get a that you can see the metal down there is bent up, but that was that way when I got it. But I do want to get a piece of plate and run it over there, and then at this front that used to be the back, I want to notch it up about 2 inches so the grass can go underneath it. And there's our dog. He's all like, hey. And there's the gearbox. And since this was a fairly new mower, the box was in pretty good shape. It didn't even need grease put in it. So you can see there's a little bit of seepage now. I probably should check it. And I found that hydraulic motor. It was at the local junkyard that somebody had brought in a diaphragm pump that actually had that motor on it. And I took the pump off and sold the diaphragm pump and kept the hydraulic motor. And if you'll look in there, actually maybe I can, this is just loose, I think. You can see it's got a chain Lovejoy type trip thing there. Don't know exactly what you call that thing, but it's there, and it just mounted right up and works good. And then you can see my hydraulics. They're not as neat as they could be, but it's just stuff that I found laying around. And the only thing I had to really buy on this thing was that skid plate and that you can see this bypass here. You got to have a bypass so it'll freewheel when you shut it off. Otherwise it just grinds to a halt. All that is a circuit that goes from one hose to the other. So when it's under pressure it goes around, but when it stops it goes back to the pressure circuit and just freewheels. And yeah, it works pretty good. Pretty impressed. Especially since I don't have much money in it. And this thing is real fast. It's a lot easier to use on a skid steer than it is to use when you're sitting there. When you get my age, it's kind of tough to turn around and watch where you're mowing. And then I have an old 70 horsepower tractor, but it's got a clutch and a 5-speed or 6-speed. And you got to clutch it all the time and go into reverse, and it was so much work and it was hard. So put on a skid steer and then it just mows real quick. Last year when I first built that skid steer, we had this little, it's just a little field, but it's where we keep the chickens and ducks and what have you. And the weeds were 6 feet tall in here and it looked kind of unsightly. And so I put that mower together so I could mow this a couple times a year. You can see over there, I don't know if you can see, but you can see how tall the weeds were because I didn't get the edges. But anyway, it just mowed this field in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It was almost as fast as you could take the skid steer. It's kind of nice because you can go in and out of everything around stuff. And yeah, pretty cool. Maybe I'll hook that thing up and show you how it works. But anyway, that's my video of my mower. Works great.